Welcome to the Pelican Brief with your host, David Tapman.
Welcome to the Pelican Brief. I'm your host, David Tapman. We are here today with Miss Kellie Alford, who is running for House District 64. We're delighted to have her in the studio. She's been married to Scott Alford for 25 years. She has 3 adult children and 2 grandchildren, lived in Watson community inside of Denham Springs for over 20 years. She's a strong Christian conservative, and Kellie and her husband are also small businessmen, persons. They own a landscape company and also do property management. So I want to welcome Kellie to the show. Kellie, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, David, for having me. It's
a
pleasure.
I gave you a brief introduction, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe what I didn't hit.
Absolutely. As you said, my husband and I have been running our business for a little over 15 years. We run about 5 crews. We've built our business from the ground up. We, of course, are very organic. We've never really had to advertise. It's been word of mouth, Better Business Bureau, that type of referral system. We, of course, manage search properties as Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's and White Oak Plantations, some of the little gems that we are very proud of.
Sure.
Of course, as you alluded to, I am a small business owner, but I'm not a career politician. So that's just basically a little bit about my husband.
Yeah, and I think that's great that we need more people, good people who I love personally. This is just my take on it. I love business people because they make payroll, right?
Exactly.
They have to serve and they have to set a standard. And just by the clients that you named, that's pretty pristine work that you're having to do. So there's some pretty high standards there.
Correct.
So for our audience that, we have a statewide audience, so a lot of people don't know every House district. Tell us a little bit about your district, just broadly. What does it encompass geographically?
Okay, so we just had the lines redrawn, so I had to write this down because the district
Changed.
is a little, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right.
So basically, the south line is Lockhart, Lockhart Magnolia Bridge Road. It runs from the Amite River east to the train tracks. It follows the train tracks east to Coyell Creek. Then it's everything north of that up to the parish line.
Right.
Watson, Walker North, and North Denham, pretty much. But then it goes into a little into Pride and Pride Port Hudson, which is from Indian Mound and Highway 1064 North, which is the Pride area. The east boundary is Amite River, and the west boundary is Comite River. And then it goes up to the parish line. There's some diversions, so it's not like it's about 98% of the district, but it's heavily populated in Watson, Walker, and Denham. Okay. And then, of course, the Pride area is more rural.
Sure. So for those who wouldn't know, this is the seat that today is currently held by Representative Valerie Hodges.
That is correct.
Who is termed out and is running for the Senate seat,
yes,
right?
Correct,
Okay.
Senate 13.
So that helps people maybe get some perspective
Yes,
of the district and where you are. So what made you decide to run for office?
Well, I've always had a little nudge towards government. Of course, when I was a little girl growing up, I always wanted to be a lawyer. That was kind of my intention. Of course, that didn't happen, and that's all good. I'm very, very proud of my life and the direction it went. But I just always felt a call towards government. And of course, prior to the COVID shutdown, I was very involved with just my area, my community, wanting, of course, concerned with the direction of our nation, obviously, and then very concerned with the direction of our state. 2020 and the shutdown was a huge push towards it's time. I need to step up. And, my husband and I prayed about it, talked to my adult children. Obviously, we, brought it to our church fellowship, wanted to seek counsel. But, whenever I got direction or where I was going to run, which was for Valerie's seat, it was a no-brainer for me at that point. I started aligning my life, my job, all my responsibilities to be able to run efficiently and at 100%, because I do everything, at 100%. When my husband and I first started our company, I was a stay-at-home mom. And, I was raising kids at that time. But I would do our work, the bookkeeping side of things, and well, back then we were pen and paper. So we would do that kind of stuff. So, little dinosaurish. But so I would do that when the kids went to sleep. So when I went to work full-time, when they were older, I had to create everything. I had to create, an office. I had to create policy, procedure, employee handbook. And like you alluded to with, getting the Bass Pro Shop contract, that elevated us to another level to where, we had to carry certain insurances. And there was a lot of requirements from the commercial side of things to be able to even get onto the property and begin to service them. So a lot of that kind of stuff I managed, the scheduling and the book invoicing and receiving. I mean, just all of it. I mean, I did all of the office operations as well as some of the, the day-to-day operations. My husband managed mostly the operations with the crews and stuff like that, but I also assisted him in that as well.
Sure.
So, but it was, 2020 was a huge thing. The unconstitutional lockdown, in my opinion. We stepped in. Me and some mama bears. We stepped in. We pushed back. We pushed on our elected officials to come and speak to us. And, we did a town hall. We set up a town hall at a certain point and demanded that, come talk to us. The people want to know what's going on. We're confused. There's frustration. People aren't understanding why are we still shut down. Businesses are going under. We lost so many businesses. I had several friends that lost their businesses, and that to me was unacceptable. My daughter was going to LSU at the time when COVID started. And, she was a 2020 graduate and my only child to go to college, and I never got to see her walk across the stage. So there was just a lot of mishandling, in my opinion, of that situation, and it really propelled me to want to step in and serve.
Yeah, well, I always wanted to be a lawyer too. But in the lawmaking process and the legislative process, you really are sort of an unofficial lawyer because you're drawing up the laws that
Right.
that the attorneys have to live by and abide by, and of course that govern the people, right? And as far as the whole lockdown thing, I don't think we've seen the end of that. There appears to be some bubbling up of those issues. So clearly, it is likely to be something that the legislature would address again, and whoever governor, whoever's elected governor. So let's pretend. I like to do this as a part of our show, and maybe it's not pretending. So you just got elected. So tonight, last night you were elected. What do you want to do? What are your big issues that you want to push, and what are you going to do as a legislator to make this state a better place and to do the kind of things that you talk about wanting to do?
Well, just to address what you said regarding the threat currently, or I should say maybe rumors currently going around regarding a possible second shutdown. Aside from a catastrophic event, that does not ever need to happen again. It destroyed and set us back so many years, whereas in my opinion we were already held back many, many years. Infrastructure is a huge thing for me in regards to that. Our infrastructure is way behind versus years ahead. We need innovation. We need strong conversations and communication in regards to preparing for growth. I think with some of the influx we got from, say, Katrina or other situations, we weren't prepared for that. Infrastructure is a huge thing for me. In regards to the COVID, some bills that didn't get passed last session, I'd like to revisit. Like I said, Edmondson HB 1, I think it's 182, in regards to not requiring the vaccine for children to be able to attend school. Louisiana already has a law where, you're not required to be vaccinated, but a lot of parents, and there was another bill in regards to that as well. I don't remember which representative brought it, but a lot of parents don't know that. It's just, here's your paperwork, fill it out, and part of it, because I remember that with my first child, and show your vaccinations, your record, and you can go to school. A lot of parents don't know that you don't have to do that. So I want to make sure that some of those are brought back up. And of course, there were some other ones that were good that I think we could revisit as well under a new governor. But of course, tort reform is another one. As a business owner, those kind of things affect me as well. I live by balance. I believe, we can have balance in life. It doesn't have to be so far this way or so far that way. We can come to the center and have, fair situations or fair circumstances to where somebody can be, live and be protected and that kind of thing. And I feel like we've just kind of gone too far to either side. So, but tort reform, that affects us, when we're out on the road and stuff and operating, the threat of being sued, for something that's not, in a situation where it should be a litigation, those kind of things need to be addressed. Obviously, our complicated tax system, we have to look at that. I was in Livingston Leadership, which was a program through our chamber, and which is an amazing program. And I was talking to one of the representatives at the Capitol one day, and they made the statement they were in a subcommittee in regards to tax reform, and they were going around the table, several different representatives, and I think senators were there as well. And it was just having conversation about some opportunities to do it, and it basically boiled down to, well, this tax will affect this department, or this will affect this program. Well, let's just revisit it, and they just shut it down. And in my opinion, that's unacceptable. I don't want, I could use a stronger word, but I'm gonna leave it at unacceptable. Some hard decisions are going to have to be made. And that's one of the things that, as a business owner, I deal with day in and day out. I have to make hard decisions. I know what it's like to sign the front of a check and not just the back of a check. So, and then, of course, to work within a budget and with what I have to work with. I don't, in my position, I can't just go try to find, I can go get a loan or something, but we need to work with what we have. And we need to fix what is so broken in our state, which is our taxes. And the idea of, well, let's just put it off because it's just so complicated, or it's just going to affect so much. We can't do that, because it'd be one thing if you weren't adding to the problem, but that's what they've been continuously doing, is adding to the problem without fixing any of it. So that I will get with whoever and work up a solution. We got to fix our tax system, or we're not going to have businesses want to come and work in Louisiana.
Sure, we're either 49th or 50th in everything.
Correct.
Right? The old joke is that everybody in Louisiana is for Puerto Rican statehood, so that we wouldn't be last. But it's really a sad joke, right?
Yeah.
Whatever we're doing it's not working. No. And with the incredible resources that we have in the state of Louisiana, particularly in our region, with the port, with universities, major university systems that are really, centered right here. And it just seems like that there's so much opportunity and we don't take advantage of it. So I think you're right. And I think it's, I always say that the way that we could fix the state is if everyone ran and said, I don't care if I get reelected, I'm going to do what needs to be done.
Amen.
And the challenge is that when people's reelection is on the line, sometimes they're not as hard with something. So we'll see how that goes. If we have a new governor, all of the gubernatorial, we're going to have a new governor, but depending on which new governor we get, they're all talking about those things, and perhaps they'll have a honeymoon period. where legislators and the governor usually get a lot done. So it's about getting the right things done. So tell us, I always ask this question because as a recovering politician and an aging lobbyist, I'm always interested in the mechanics of it. So tell us how you are going to win the race. Tell us how you're going to get, either in the runoff or get the most amount of votes. What are you doing to win the race, and what's your plan?
So really the only challenge that I had with my race was name recognition, because aside from that, I'm not a career politician. I'm the only one that's not a career politician. I'm a small business owner. So that was my challenge, was name recognition. And so what I'm doing is knocking on doors, going to local events with the people in my district. Of course, I know a lot of people in my district, outside my district, all around. And I'm encouraging them as well to share with their friends and encourage them to come talk to me, get to know me. Obviously, I put my cell phone number out there, emails and that kind of thing. But right now, it's really been knocking on doors. I mean, we are really pounding the pavement right now, and really started it, a month ago. And it's been so exciting because I'm getting such great feedback at the door. I've not had anybody tell me no when I've asked, or said I would be honored with your vote. I've had a couple maybes, but I've had a very, very good response at the door. We actually also just put out a mailer, was my first mailer, and very proud of that. Of course, I am grassroots, and as I alluded to before, with starting the business and building the business from the ground up, I figure things out. I work. I don't wait for somebody to tell me what to do. And so, I was very instrumental in that mailer and very proud of it. I feel like it's going to be like that propel with the challenge of being recognized by my name. But that's the main thing, is just talking to people and getting out there. Of course, we're going to do some other things to keep the momentum going, as well as keeping my name out there. But I mean, I'm hearing great feedback from the voter, as well as local leaders and state leaders. So I'm very, very, I don't want to say the word hopeful. I am confident that I can win.
That's awesome. Well, I certainly appreciate you offering yourself for public service. Again, working in this arena a long time, we need good people. We have a lot of good people there.
Yeah.
There are a lot of legislators that do really, really great work. A lot of department heads and people who work in the executive branch of government and that really do great work, but we need more of them. And, I always worked really well with Valerie. I thought she did a good job. And so, I know that's a very tense Senate race, and I have two friends in that race. But the voters make those decisions. So is there anything else you'd like to tell our audience before we wrap up? Any other points that you would like to make, or any closing comments?
Well, obviously, Kellie Alford, running for state representative, District 64. I believe we can do better in our state and change the trajectory of the migration that is leaving our state and turn it around, and hopefully bring our people back. I want to see my kids grow here and establish their families and their careers, and I want my grandkids and future generations to do the same. And I feel like we are at a great threshold and a transition for our state to change that direction and go in a good direction from, like you said, the last 49th, 50th up. And, I just want to be a part of that, and I want to serve. I have no desire to make a career out of this. I'm stepping in because I feel like I can make a difference and bring that business tenacity that I've used with our company, building relationships, working with anybody, to the Capitol, and see some things done for our state, some reliefs. Our people are hurting. Our people are tired, and they're struggling, and they're frustrated. And I believe we can do better. So I just am honored to be here. And, we have a website, www.votekelliealford.com, and that's KellieAlford. And then I have a Facebook page, Vote Alford 64. And obviously, I humbly ask for your support and, most importantly, your prayers.
Well, thank you, Kellie. And we will post all of that information in the link below the podcast. And she's Kellie Alford, and I'm David Tatman. And to follow us, you can follow us on all of the major podcasting platforms at Pelican Brief 225. You can email us at thepelicanbrief225@gmail.com. If you subscribe, you probably are already listening. If you're seeing this or hearing it, you can subscribe and you can catch all of our upcoming episodes of the podcast as we interview as many of the candidates who are interested in coming on and talking to you about what they're going to do and how they're going to win their campaign. So thank you for tuning in, and that is this episode of the Pelican Brief.
The Pelican Brief is an off-script production.